The new Japanese horror comedy Hotspring Sharkattack is the best of Godzilla, Sharknado, and Jaws. But it's also the worst of those, and it is completely self-aware. So do you need to put this on your watch list? In a small town in Japan, a ferocious ancient shark reawakens and begins terrorizing the local hot spring facilities. As the threat escalates, the townspeople band together to protect their beloved town from the menacing predator. Now, just like with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, Hotspring Sharkattack is getting a very limited theatrical event release before eventually landing on VOD. Now, I was serious in the intro. This takes some of the best ideas from those three iconic films and then puts its own spin on it. But that spin isn't necessarily awesome. The story is simple and yet kind of convoluted. There's a town where the mayor is erecting this high-rise luxury building that features a hot springs bathing facility within it. But an ancient threat is awakened, sending uniquely powered sharks to wreak havoc. And is it too much to ask for one simple request, to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads? And I'm not going to spoil whether or not we get that particular brand of predator, but the variety we do get, it's strangely fun. But the story introduces a scientist to assist the mayor and then also the police chief. Plus, we get this silent stranger named Macho, who appears randomly out of nowhere to help. Now, the whole goal is to save the town from these sharks, but thanks to the plot convenience that allows the predators to bend and transform matter, they can basically go wherever they choose. So right there, you know you need to abandon all sense of reality and believability for this to work. If you can do that, and you're slightly under the influence, this becomes a wild ride. When I talk about transforming matter, just imagine puddles or pools of seawater appearing out of nowhere, in the middle of a sidewalk, maybe a park, or a building. I mean, it doesn't matter. This convenience allows the story to progress uninhibited by logic so that it can focus on irrational actions. And as difficult as it is going to be to believe, this does not feature state-of-the-art graphics or motion capture. Although the practical effects are used very sparingly, they're a highlight of the movie. I mean, a lot of the blood spurts and body parts, they look great as they are tossed and splattered about. But the majority of the effects, there are CGI from 1995. Whew, and they're rough. The absurdity and the terribleness of the visuals, it's part of the charm, creating scenarios that are just plain preposterous. Now, there is a certain scene that I rewound a couple of times just so that I could laugh over and over at the visuals. For the story, the mayor is using 3D printing technology to build out this high-rise. And things like this are already in existence and in use, so it's completely believable, at least until we see the process. They utilized a home 3D printer that uses spool filament, but decorated it to look industrial, and then shot it very closely to make it appear massive. And I appreciate the dedication to this illusion, because to create some scale, toy cement mixers and other vehicles and stuff are placed in front. And then when these are combined with the shooting angle, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss all the glorious details that went into this. I mean, it's immediately fake looking. But when I rewound the scene, I continued to find tiny gems that made the setting all the more funny. Then, in addition to the brilliantly cringy construction scenes, the film utilizes miniatures and puppets to assist in shark attacks, action sequences, sometimes just the shark swimming around. And these are hilarious. I mean, I applaud the commitment to the continued look and feel throughout the production. Is it quality? No, but very creatively executed, which can sometimes surpass quality, at least in a film like this that knows exactly what it is. For a movie that's only 78 minutes long, there are some portions in the middle that drag, thanks to some forced exposition that's meant to create emotional investment in characters that we've already met, but aren't necessarily fully endearing. And while this segment wasn't overly lengthy, the stop and start of the momentum, it was noticeable, and it made me feel the length. Plus, I paused to see how much time was left, thinking it was just about over, but I was only about halfway through, leading to a small sense of dread for how much of the ridiculousness I could actually endure. But then, just when you think the story can't get any stranger, the movie says, hold my beer. At one point, we watch a montage of a weapon being built, and interspersed through that is a sequence of a shirtless, muscle-bound Hulk who's working out. Why? I don't know, who knows? Maybe just as some eye candy, or the story needed a distraction from the lack of intrigue of just watching this weapon being erected. Either way, it fits right in with the other visual chaos that the plot presents. And then, not to be outdone by that workout scene, the final boss battle is absolutely silly in concept execution, and visuals. The melodrama only enhances the stupidity and enjoyment as we watch characters throw a band into the wind and overact for all they're worth. There's passionate yelling and screaming, pleading for one more opportunity. And then the overly dramatic pauses in dialogue that could either be the actor searching for their line or the attempt at palpable tension. Regardless of what was trying to be achieved, we get an overblown climax that is the perfect cap to all that came before. Now, oddly, within the production, there is something very Wes Anderson about small portions that are scattered throughout the movie. I mean, it's not in symmetry or even quality, just these random bits of eccentricities that only work because of the absurdity. I mean, sometimes it's the focus on a character with the camera then zooming up to them, or it's an actor superimposed on top of a model that feels fake and out of place, yet somehow fits thanks to all of the other strangeness within the scene. Now, this shouldn't be surprising in any sense, but this is the very first project attributed on IMDb to the writer/director. And while I'm not sure I would call it a strong start out of the gate, there is a certain level of confidence that's needed to helm a story of this caliber. Because the director knew exactly the type of film they were making, kudos to them for fully embracing the cheese and then going for it. So when all is said and done, the story is as thin as dental floss, the effects are horrendous at best, the acting is wildly melodramatic, and the continuity is in shambles. While this isn't a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, it is incredibly fun through its absurdities. This is the perfect film to get a bunch of friends to watch with, have some beverages on hand, and then play a game where every time you see something recklessly placed within the set, or maybe just spot a massive incongruency, you take a drink. You're going to be on the way to hospital within 10 minutes. This is stupidity at its finest, and it doesn't attempt to be anything but. The film doesn't take itself seriously, so you shouldn't either while watching. I laughed a ton through this, mostly because of the ridiculous visuals or antics, but it made me happy nonetheless, and it left me with this twitchy smile at the end. Also, there is an end-credit scene. I mean, not that it does anything for the story, but if you've managed to watch the entire movie anyway, why not stick around for the 4-ish minutes of credits and then see the final frame of the story? There is no sex or nudity, a little profanity, then a ton of violence. Silly violence, but still. I give Hotspring Sharkattack 0.5 out of 5 couches. Again, as a critic, I need to be fair in the rating. But from an enjoyment standpoint, if you're into cheesy silliness and you want to laugh drunkenly with a bunch of friends, give this one a go. It's best watched in a group so you can all crack up together. Okay, what's an absurd film that you love? Now, I'm not talking about an excellent movie. I mean, although it could be. I want to know about an unhinged, stupid, yet entertaining one. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.